steal, but you did it using computers and the cybercrime.
Right.
Now, back to what you were talking about in terms of impersonation. Like I said, the Electronic Transactions Act captures a few things. In fact, you can't even falsely advertise, right, on certain claims or saying you can do certain things that you can't. It's called charlatanic advertisement. Okay. It is actually, it can be tried against you. So a few provisions there. With regards to impersonation, however, it's quite interesting because it's one of the easiest to do from a cyber criminal's perspective, right? And we enable some of these things. When I say we enable, in order for someone to impersonate you, they need to convince everyone else that they are you, right? Now, the question is, if I have to toss it back to you and say, okay, I want you to pretend you are her, right? Like, what would you need? Well,
definitely her name, of course, her full name, her birthday, where she was born, where she works, and pictures.
Wonderful. Now, the question is, all these things you've listed, how easy are these things you listed? How easy is it for someone to get those things?
Very easy, because everything is online.
So you see, that is really what I'm saying, that we enable some of these things. Because the moment it is that easy, then you understand that you are at risk of impersonation, right? Now, I'm not saying live in a silo or in a cave, right? But the truth is that there are certain information that you can't simply, you have to keep obscure, right? There are certain pictures that you have to restrict, and that brings me to privacy settings, right? There are certain pictures, certain albums, certain things you've shared that you have to restrict, that if you are not my friend, okay, you shouldn't even see them. If you go on LinkedIn, people have their entire job history there, right? And it's accessible to the public.
Sure.
So the public, I can tell that, you went to this school. Some even go all the way to the granular level, like from basic school. You went to this school, you were in this, you studied this course. Someone can piece all this information together. And impersonation is one of the things they can do with it. Now they can try to take your brand, okay, pretend to be you, share pictures that you are also sharing the same picture. So the question is, who is who? You get it? So this lack of privacy settings, especially on some of our accounts online, have enabled the impersonators to, have a field day. So he's basically just, and now there are tools that have made it easy. So you can just put someone's maybe Facebook or whatever profile in the tool, and it will clone their entire page. Pictures,
clone
is make a copy. So pictures, comments, whatever it is, they have a copy of it.
Tools, you mean softwares?
Software
that they are using now.
Yes, there are software to do that, right, to automate the entire process. So now you have a copy of everything, and then the person simply has to, just take what they want, build a profile, and then they are good to go.
Interesting. But I'm just wondering why the person on the other side gets so empowered without any fear. You have said that we've made some positive strides. We have legal frameworks, we have legal instruments and stuff that we as a country have. How has enforcement been like? When we find somebody and we prosecute them and all, do people know that this crime, you mentioned awareness.
Awareness, yeah.
There are two end users, right?
Right.
So me, Emefa, putting my information out there, and the person that's about to commit the crime taking the information.
Yes.
I may be aware that there are laws available that if I invoke and explore, I can punish the other person on the other side.
Right.
But these other people, are they aware? Do they even know that what they're doing is a crime and all?
Right. So
in your findings?
some do, right? Some also commit these things out of ignorance, right? So there is that. On your direct question of enforcement, where we are, there's a lot of way to go, but I think that we have really accelerated the effort. Recently, there's someone in your media space who has been taken, he's been taken to jail, right, for sharing certain images that I think some were indecent, but most importantly, he used also the logos of the Cybersecurity Authority, right, and shared these things, and they have invoked certain clauses in the Cybersecurity Act. Yeah.
What courage would a person use the cybersecurity logo?
Yeah. So there was the logo as part of the images that were secured. Sometimes, some of these things, they help push the stories from a blogger's perspective. Right. Yeah. So, or sometimes even the blogger may not know.
Now I get it. Okay.
They may not even know. Sometimes they will be sharing this because they got it from someone. They are also forwarding to just get in on the action.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but you've not verified what you are sharing. So yes, on the enforcement, they actually I mean, I don't know if it's led to conviction, but that has actually happened.
Okay.
So we see a renewed sense of, enforcement recently. Okay, and I hope it continues. But the truth is, the gospel truth is that, as it stands now, there are so many things that are needed for enforcement to even be successful.
Great, because I was going to jump onto that.
I went to Italy, right? And when I was there for about 2 weeks, in that 2 weeks I was there, the SIM I was using was tied to my visa, like my passport. And when the time expired, the data and everything stopped. What that meant was that whilst I was there using their internet, they knew the identity of the person doing the activities. So if, let's say, I decide to use my internet to start, doing some, funny things, visiting certain, maybe child porn website, they know this. So visibility is very key if you want to do enforcement.
Yeah.
And that is why, look, political things aside, if you look at the SIM card registration, right, if we do it right with the national, the IDs and everything, that is what it can empower us to do, whereby we can now because you have data on your SIM. So eventually, if we start doing a filter to say that people visiting this site, which is known for maybe terrorism or whatever, then we can tie them to identities. So identity is a very key thing if you want to do enforcement. We haven't solved the identity problem yet, right? As one of the ingredients. So it is hampering, enforcement. Awareness is also one. If people are not aware, and people are committing crimes day in and day out, they don't even know they are committing the crimes, right? It makes enforcement very difficult because if you want to be very legalistic, someone got an image from WhatsApp, he just sharing it to a group, they have a conversation. It doesn't know that this nude picture you are sharing, by virtue of even having it sometimes,
it's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
And so that awareness is also not there.
Let's talk about that awareness. Honestly, let's be honest. Are you saying that because we know and people have said that our digital footprints can be traced even in this country?
Sure.
So can it really?
Yes. He's here to answer it. So I know that while it may seem like I can do anything I want,
right?
If the government wants to come after me, apparently, do they have access to my contact? Is that true? They have access to, they can see the contact. Maybe you can't disclose that information.
No, I will attempt to.
They can see, I don't know if they can see my gallery. You're laughing. They can see my gallery. And if maybe Emefa and I engage in a certain conversation, if they really, really want to find out who I've been talking to, they can't see that. Even though WhatsApp tells you, it's encrypted. Yeah. Messages are end-to-end encryption. If the government, if the NBI, do we call that NBI, the NIB, DNI,
yeah, they're the same, I guess.
Yeah. For awareness sake, so that the people out there know that if we really want to come after you, we can.
Right. Okay. So I'll be very careful on this. Right. No, not necessarily because the truth is that everything has become possible now. Right. The United States government was some 5 years ago. Like evidence came out that they were actually listening to everyone's conversation. So the reality of certain things is simply there. In fact, it came out recently that there's a software that was being developed in Israel. It's called by a group. It's called Pegasus. And they were using it to target journalists and a lot of people that it was taking advantage of a flaw in Android and Apple devices to pull all their messages, their contact. These things are possible, right? As to who gets to do them, right? Now, it's the government part of those people, right? If I am looking at things from what's the evidence that's available now, right? They can't view your gallery, they can't do these kind of things. Because if they were to do that, mostly you will need to be part of the process to enable that.
Yeah.
Right? One of the common ways that can be done is to get you to install certain applications that enable me. So you have to give me the permission, right, by installing the application to do all those kind of things. That kind of back and forth process, I don't think the government is doing that now. But you can see call records and things like that. They won't hear the phone conversations, but call records sit with the telcos.
Yeah.
So if they got to the necessary court orders, they could be able to get an idea of the calls you've been making, who you've been calling, and all of those things, and build some intelligence out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the reality of that aspect of things. But the truth is, there are so many other things to worry about, even aside the government things, that we contribute to that we don't even realize.
Right.
Especially going to the holidays, trust me, there are going to be 1,000 links of people being shared to groups about KFC doing some new
New
promo. People will be
promo, yeah.
clicking these links, and when they are clicking these links, you don't know what is happening, especially on your phone. If you are clicking links, you don't know. It's crazy. Like, by a link click, you can give someone access to all these things you are talking about, the contacts, all those things. Are you not surprised sometimes when you get messages from companies you've never dealt with before?
Sure.
When
And
did
it
they
comes
get your
by text
SMS?
messages.
And they came by your text messages. So there's a lot of danger with the human side, aside even the government, that we can control, right? And I'm hoping that maybe, if not even in this session, subsequent sessions, we can discuss some of these things people can put in place. Yeah.
Tell me, is there any relationship or would there be a bridge between achieving proper cybersecurity and not breaching privacy?
That's a very good question. That's an interesting question. But both questions have been interesting. The truth is, right, it will get to a point whereby if it comes to, even if in your own house, if you are setting up CCTV, you would have had to bring a technician you don't know or even know to some extent to have access to certain places that normally you wouldn't have granted a visitor access to. So you'd find that in the insurance security, sometimes privacy has to give way a little bit. What you have to look out for is if there are laws to protect this privacy of yours and if there's any evidence of it being abused, right? Of which then you take up those laws to say that, look, the laws say that, and we have some data protection laws. You are not supposed to keep my data for this long. So because you've done this and this, I'm taking you on to court and things of that nature. But the truth is, look, privacy will give away a little bit for security sometimes. And that's the reality.
So because of the way things are done legally, for example, I'm not suspecting, there's hard evidence that somebody's impersonating me and taking money via Momo or whichever way from people. Next point is, did you do any transaction with this person? They say yes. Did you send them Momo? They say yes. What name showed up? They give you a name. Then what? The police will then now, you try, because of the addressing system,
Right.
you want to track this person because they know they are impersonating you. They don't pick calls.
Right.
They don't make themselves available to you. And so it's safe to say that because you're working with the police, if the police decides to use their name and use whatever tool, IT tool available to locate where they are,
Right.
because you're working with the police, you're not breaching anybody's privacy. Because if I'm home, and because of digital addressing system, there's a knock at my door. That's okay. We found out that your address, a person lives here and is impersonating somebody. If it is the police, it is okay, right?
Yeah, so most of these laws give provisions for cases whereby this law enforcement can do certain things, right? Sometimes in the interest of security, right? They have to prove it though. They can't simply just do these things because they feel like it. They have to provide reasonable evidence to a judge. And the judge will say, okay, based on this, go ahead and then use this and this to try and locate this and this persons. So they have provisions for doing that, but they follow legal approaches. They can't just go commando style and then just do whatever it is that they want to do.
In the back end, for you, cyber security
Right.
specialist, in the back end, what would you say is the most difficult thing for you in trying to achieve a very flawless cyber security?
All right, so I think it starts with, for me, I keep on saying this, it's the awareness, right? The truth is, if people don't understand these issues, you can't reason past that, right? There's so many conversations. I have to tell you that, hey, you know what, do you have an antivirus for your phone? I'll be like, why should I do an antivirus for my phone? Like, unless someone comes to the point whereby they understand that, whoa, this can happen on the phone, and you get that buy-in, other conversations cannot happen. Okay. That's why awareness is really very important. That you understand the space you are in, and then you understand the issues that come with it. And it changes you the moment you know about issues. Now, let me give an example of one. Recently, right, people were fighting Chicken Man on Twitter.
Yes.
Because they say that they have been ordering for stuff, and then it seems that the things don't come, and they've just stolen, someone just stolen their money. What is the real issue? The real issue is built around the fact that when it comes to Google Maps, who put all those locations on Google Maps? Who put them there? It's an open community. Everyone. So you went somewhere at a point, you tagged the place and you called it this, and it became part of Google Maps database. Well, the criminals were like, okay, if this is how it works, I'm going to go to, let's say, a location, and I'm going to say I'm contributing to maps by creating a place.
Yeah.
Now, instead of selecting a genuine business, I'm going to choose another company. I say, Pizza Man, Chicken Man, and then tag the location there. Put my contact there and save it. Now, Google has no way of verifying this.
Whether
No way
this is
actually
Pizza Man.
Man, Chicken Man. It's just trying to help the community, even though they do their reviews. Then an unsuspecting person takes their phone,
Looking
and
for
says,
the nearest
food point, and then Pizza Man, Chicken Man is suggested. They pick and they call, and these guys are very professional. They pick the phone, hello, hi, how are you doing? And they usually use ladies because ladies throw people off when it comes to security. So, hi, okay, what's your order? They order everything, and the order never comes.
Indeed.
Okay, but they would have taken the money anyway. This is an example of awareness. When someone has heard me right now, or someone is listening right now, the way they will now interact with maps will be very different. When they check Pizza Man, Chicken Man, and they see a content, I'm just using them as an example.
I mean, they're real examples.
They've been doing this
making it up.
right. They've been doing this for so many brands, Samsung, so many people, and it will change their behavior. Now, I can have a conversation with that person and say that, hey, you know what? I think you should have this on your phone. They are more receptive then. But until you are aware of the issues and then you understand these threats that happen in the cyber environment, I think it's very
Let's talk
difficult.
about things that
You want
could
to
also
stay
help
on
the
this for a
awareness.
minute.
Okay.
Please stay on this for a minute. In those two variables in this things that you've said,
sure.
who has more control? The consumer or the brand owner?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because who should care more? I know that I want to protect my money and my purchases, but for a brand such as this, and we're staying on this because they've been the most talked about in recent times, the brand that we've just mentioned.
true.
And I've seen a woman complain that she ordered food for about 6,000 cedis, it hasn't come. Lots of money. And many people, not one, two, not three. So at this point, it looks like consumers, per the nature of business that these people are running, are vulnerable. I really wonder if you're starved, if you're not going to be looking at a lot
Whether
of
it's
things.
a legal place to go to.
It's a genuine situation, right?
So who
who has
has
the
control?
burden? I think it's collective. But the one ordering sister, why was she ordering for a village
maybe,
or what?
I
Maybe
think-
she's
I
having
think
a
maybe
party or
child's
something.
party or
Okay, sure. Okay, that's a lot of
Ordering for a village.
Okay, so on this bit, right, I think it's a collective responsibility, right? It's collective. Collective in the sense that, look, the user has some things to do. Brands have things to do. Brands have a responsibility to make sure that they do all the things to prove they are truly who they are. You understand? And so because of this, they are now changing their approach, whereby most brands are moving to a common call center number, right? Irrespective of the location. Then they will control rather who you should talk to. So you are calling from where, actually? Okay, then
Hold on, let me link you to this person.
This is one practical way. That
And
brands
honestly,
can
let's
arrest
give
this.
credit to Starbites. They do that very well.
Beautiful.
I said the money voice.
Right. So this is one proactive thing that brands can do. If brands are on platforms that allow them to verify themselves, they need to take advantage. Like Twitter. The Twitter verified badge is a way of letting people know that you are really who you are, right? So you take advantage of all the verification tools that are on the platform. So brands can do something. The people can also do something. You know, until the brands do this, what are you going to do, right? Then you can also be selective, right? In the sense that if you are dealing with businesses that don't have some of these common platforms for calling, they understand that now you are
at risk.
You are at some and also changing your habits to suit that. Then I'm not going to pay before the item comes.
Yes.
I'm going to pay when I receive it. Yeah. Okay. If it never comes, I also don't part with my money.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the behaviors that I think that people can.
And
also
if you're
do.
paying 6,000 Ghana cedis, I think I would rather want to go there and go and. I'm just saying.
I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. I get where.
If it's 200 cedis, it's fine.
What he's saying is basically risk appetite, right? Yeah. The truth is that when it comes to fraud and online transaction, there really is supposed to be an amount of money that everyone personally gets to that when it gets here, I won't pay anything until I see the item for myself.
Will you purchase? Will you purchase on Amazon 6,000?
You said Amazon, like you said.
So it means
they have all the
trust and
verification.
confidence
Exactly,
in the
all the
brand.
verification
Being
tools are there.
selective.
They are very verified.
it's the fact that it's chicken.
You are speaking the same language. Right? You are saying that the trust and verification tools and platforms are there, right? And that's why you can do that. But in a situation where they are not there, that's why I said that if you're not there, what's the customer doing? What's the normal person doing? Then you have to take some, risk indicators in your head. if and there are many, but I'll summarize by saying these three, right? One is that have a cap of money that you can choose to part that if they fraud you, you can live with yourself.
Yeah.
You can live with yourself, okay, you can move on. The second one is that use, when it comes to maybe selling, buying online, at least, you see, the verification tools, one of the things is community reviews, right? And I like platforms that now allow people to review a seller or a buyer. Because if you're on shopping and then you see that someone is selling houses, and then someone goes in the comments like, look, forget
Don't
these
trust
people.
this,
They will do, it changes your behavior.
Yeah.
So I, as a person, like brands like that, like more.
Who allow reviews.
And third, if you can't tie any business to a physical location or person, then be very careful about parting away with monies. Like, I can't say that for this business, I can find them here. The person who owns this is this person, X, Y. Then I think you need to like take this.
So even if it is purely online,
Instagram shops, yeah.
sure, even if it is purely online, the person, once the person is able to come out, you see mostly there's no physical store, it's an online store, but you see that the person behind the brand tries to be visible enough. They introduce themselves. I am the owner of this brand. We are purely online, but if you're texting. You see a human being. You're able to put.
And that human being should have other identifiers aside the brand they are used to, right? If I type your name in Google, I should see you aside your brand in other places. That sometimes you search and you say, okay, this person got some graduate list from UCC or something is there, and then the person's name is. So that's a way of being able to. The whole point. The point is. This detail only comes in based on the amount of money that is involved in the transaction. You are basically doing what we call risk analysis, right? So I'm going to buy something that's 25,000 CDs. Well, you better do the details.
The shoes. Those shoes.
Well, they're lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
If that be the case, then you do all these additional things, right? Just to make sure that you can, there's accountability in the process, right? It's really as simple.
Let me ask about the individual ones. Just some basic knowledge for people out there. Beyond brands, let's look at our individual activities that we do that also would enable these people to have access to us. For instance, I was advised about this Instagram story questions. I don't know if you've come across that, where you say, ask me any question.
Yes.
You've seen that.
That's interesting.
And what happens is that because people are asking you questions, you tend to put a lot out there. Oh, which school did you go to? Then they say, oh, what do you love doing most? And so we end up putting a lot of information out there without even realizing that people can get access to it. So that's one, if you can confirm
that's a brilliant observation. It's true. I confirm that is. No, and it plays out in a lot of ways, right? Sometimes it's just true funny games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your action man, your superhero, your Avengers name, it's a combination of your date of birth, and then the month you were born, and then your mother's middle name. And then you put something there, and then the thing will tell you, okay, your hero name is this. Like,
they're getting...
Yeah, so they're getting a lot of things. Giveaways. People come and go like, you know what, hey guys, I have a lot of money. Maybe I want this or whatever. Look, drop your account number. Let's send some money your way. And, well, fine, you drop your account number and everything. And then you are now wondering how these criminals have your... So there are a lot of things we participate in online. We don't really pay attention to, but they are harvesting a lot of our information. And then, so you're right. I
see that Apple and Google and the rest try to help with this security thing. And when you're downloading apps, they tell you the things that are linked to you. Or I don't know if you've seen that thing.
Right.
Identify, they tell you identifies. Like what these apps have access to on your phone. So you confirm by giving them access to these things. What would you say about that too? Even with Google, you realize if you're downloading an app and you want to sign up, they say give access to your Google
to these things.
Email account. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're genuine, aren't they?
Okay, so as to whether they are genuine or not, it depends on the case of the applications you are talking about. It depends on what the application is supposed to do, right? If I'm downloading a calculator and it says it needs access to my contact, doesn't make sense, right? Why does a calculator need access? Unless it's going to, I don't know what, I can't even think of a scenario.
Maybe it's a human
you understand? So the point is, it's really more on the app and then what it is asking to do, right? So yeah, so it's a case-by-case study. So that's when you get to determine whether this seems legit or not. If you download Facebook right now, it will ask you that it needs permission to your camera,
photos,
it needs permission to your, and you think about it, and Facebook actually does need that because if you want to chat with someone, do video call, you would need your camera to do that. So it's on a case-by-case basis. But it is what you are talking about, which is a bigger point. I agree with it entirely. Some of these mobile phone vendors have now gotten into the game of protecting their users. So, Android and then Apple devices, they now are being more particular about certain links that are sent to you. They give certain warnings and pop-ups and whatnot. But you see, again, it comes down to awareness. People will see this and
lastly for me, I realized that Apple has made itself in such a way that I don't fear clicking on anything on my MacBook or my iPhone. Honestly, I do not, because
they've emotionally bought his.
Yes, because I feel like
his emotions, and that's how they
that's
get
for
it.
Android. Yeah, I know that you are at risk, but Apple has put in certain measures that makes you think that you're very secure.
Don't land with your question. Won't allow you to land with your question.
I should have figured out that he was an Apple fanboy.
How did you? Because of
There's an iPhone somewhere, it's a MacBook somewhere. So it's but Apple has invested a lot in security, right, for its users and whatnot. They've done a good job, but they are not immune to attacks, right? This Pegasus I'm talking about was affecting Pegasus software targeting journalists and stuff. Was affecting our Apple devices,
right?
And it was taking advantage of a vulnerability even Apple didn't know about. They exist. We just don't see the attacks as much because the majority of people use Android. And attackers are not, they are economical. They go after the numbers, right? So they'll go after, so you hear a lot of these things, but it doesn't mean the Apple devices are immune to something.
I mean, just to shock him, I have been hacked before using Apple. So even my iCloud.
I mean, iCloud, yes.
Okay, well.
Because you can only use iCloud on Apple.
It's true. But it could also be you could have played a part in it, right? In terms of your credentials, where you logged in, how you saved. No, people save their credentials. Like,
if you are online, so that you can open it anywhere you go.
Won't it be the same for any other phone that's also saved? If it is Apple, then you should have protected me all world. Look, but by the way, I have a question.
Apple does a good job.
Before we come to what we're going to just give you the last minute to. Thank you for that. To tell us about what E-Crime Bureau does, what service we can get from you. But before that, free consultation. How do you deal with a hacker who is blackmailing you? Where is your first port of call?
You have to report it. In Ghana now, that would be, so it's two levels, right? You report to the police, right? Especially,
the police have a language. Don't send him money. And the hacker is sending you. The police will tell you, don't send money. They are lying. They are lying. Don't listen to the police. I'll do this to you.
The reason why you report to the police is that if the case takes a 10, whereby you now have evidence enough to actually go after the person and whatnot, the police records help you validate that you reported this, and it helps you legally in the long run.
Should you let the hacker know that you're also not sitting still?
Yeah, what?
Should you let the hacker also know that you're not sitting still?
Right. I'll answer that. I'll say that aside the police, you also have to go to the Cybersecurity Authority, right? So now they have a lot of reporting channels, and they are Cybersecurity Authority, that's csa.gov.gh. On their side, they have a lot of, you can report these things. They have teams within that can tackle some of these issues, especially in areas you can't get some records. Facebook will not listen to you when it comes to some things, but Facebook will listen to the authority so they can help in that regard. Now, let's come to practically. How do you deal with this when you're being blackmailed and things of that? I do all these official channels. Sometimes you have to buy time whilst you are doing the reporting, right? So buying time would be that as if you are gaming the person to make them feel that you are cooperating, right? Okay, send this money to this and whatnot. You are cooperating. Try as much as possible to fish out information from this person, right? That will be used to identify them, but you don't blow your cover. Yeah. And I'll say, like, for example, look, the account you send me to do Momo, my bank is not working. Do you have any bank order number or something like that? You are just trying to buy time, also fishing for more information. So they'll be like, okay, use another number. As much as you can gather all of these things, eventually, when it's being investigated, right, it ties in to help identify the person and possibly, catch them. But you never go along with their demands. That's one thing that should be a fact when it comes to the blackmailers, because they have no integrity. Yeah, right? But they have no integrity. The truth is that, like, whether you pay the money or not, you have no trust in whether they will do this. So live knowing that, look, it's possible that they may leak some of these things. And I think we've seen this. Tiwa Savage? Yeah. She came ahead of her leak to talk about it before it even came out. Happen, so. Yeah. That is the situation whereby, look, you realize that, and that was in the media space. Look, this can happen, right? This can happen. So I'm bracing for impact. And sometimes you may have to do that. Yeah. Right? But till it gets to that point, explore all these delay tactics, right? If possible, they ask for money, send something. If you're asking for a lot, send a little. Say, I don't have money, I'm trying to gather money.
Yeah.
You are just buying time so that you can get them, right?
How fast are you people? Are you sure it's not going to be a long queue by the time? Like,
Right.
honestly.
So look.
Is this something I can come to the service of Equine Bureau to?
Yes, you can.
All right.
We'll say that you should have reported to the official channels first. Too.
Okay.
So, but we do this, right? We've been doing this. So, Equine Bureau is a cybersecurity company, right? And what that simply, cybersecurity and digital forensics company. So what that simply means is that on one side, we help companies, individuals secure themselves, right? And if you suspect something has compromised your security on your digital devices, we can help with that. The other side is investigations. Someone has done something criminal towards you or with your brand or with your company, and you want to investigate to understand the truth of what happened. How did they do it? I know that's the investigations, but that's Equine Bureau, and we do that as well, along with other things. So if you are in need of any services that fall within this category, I think you can simply reach out. Equine Bureau, the website is equinebureau.com, and I believe everything you need there is there. Thank you.
Okay. Guys, so yeah, this one day I would definitely recommend that you check out Equine Bureau and get that service that you are not a technical person and you are not able to render that service. Ask of Joseph. Okay, just ask of Joseph, and I'm sure he would help you through.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too. It's been lovely.
Yes.
Okay. You are both very knowledgeable.
Thank you. Travel Tuesday up next, guys.
We are back, bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong.